You've noticed it, haven't you? That person who used to light up every room, who always had time for everyone's problems, who seemed to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders with a smile. Now they're different, distant, unreachable, and people whisper that they've become cold. But what Carl Jung discovered about this transformation will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about emotional healing. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal will change how you see human psychology forever. According to Carl Jung's research on the psyche, there's a phenomenon he called psychological rebirth, and nowhere is this more evident than in the empath who has finally awakened to their own worth. People mistake this transformation for coldness, but Jung understood something far more profound and absolutely revolutionary. Here's what's really happening beneath the surface. Carl Jung said that the human mind operates on a principle he termed enantiodromia, the tendency for things to transform into their opposite when pushed to extremes. The empath who has been warm to everyone, available to everyone, understanding of everyone, eventually reaches a breaking point. But this isn't collapse. Jung discovered this is evolution. The so-called coldness you're witnessing isn't the absence of warmth. It's the presence of discernment. And trust me, there's a massive difference. Listen carefully to what happens next, because this is where most people get it completely wrong. According to Carl Jung's theory of individuation, every person must eventually stop living for others and start living from their authentic self. For most people, this never happens. They remain trapped in what Jung called the persona, the mask they wear to please society. But the healed empath has shattered that mask. They've been forced to, through repeated betrayal, manipulation, and emotional exploitation. What people perceive as coldness is actually what Jung termed psychological boundaries. The empath hasn't lost their capacity to feel. They've gained the wisdom to choose where that feeling goes. They don't offer their energy freely anymore because they've learned that not everyone deserves access to their depth. Jung discovered that the most integrated individuals are those who have learned to protect their inner world with the same fierce dedication they once used to protect others. But here's where it gets absolutely fascinating, and why this transformation terrifies people who relied on the empath's unlimited availability. Carl Jung understood that empaths operate from what he called the feeling function, an advanced form of emotional intelligence that reads energy, detects incongruence, and absorbs the emotional atmosphere of any space. But when an empath heals, something extraordinary happens. They develop what Jung termed the thinking function to balance their natural gifts. They don't just feel anymore, they analyze. They don't just absorb, they assess. They don't just give. They calculate whether the exchange is reciprocal. This integration of thinking and feeling creates what Jung called the transcendent function, and it makes the healed empath absolutely untouchable. The warmth is still there, it's just no longer indiscriminate. And that, according to Jung's lifetime of research, is the mark of true psychological maturity. Here's what will blow your mind about what happens next. According to Carl Jung, there's a critical difference between being open and being available. The unhealed empath confuses the two. They believe that their openness requires constant availability. They think their empathy means they must rescue everyone. They feel guilty for having boundaries because they've been conditioned to see their sensitivity as a service they owe the world. But Jung discovered that this is psychological imprisonment, not compassion. The healed empath understands what Jung called conscious relationship. They engage deeply, but only where there's mutual respect. They give generously, but only where there's reciprocity. They love fully, but only where there's genuine appreciation. This isn't coldness. It's what Jung termed appropriate response, matching your energy to what the situation and the person actually deserves. People who benefited from the empath's boundaryless nature will always call this selfishness. But Jung knew better. He called it self-preservation, the foundation of all psychological health. And here's where the transformation becomes absolutely unstoppable. Carl Jung said that the shadow contains not just our darkness, but our unlived potential. For empaths, the shadow often holds their capacity to say no, their ability to walk away, their power to prioritize themselves. Healing forces them to integrate this shadow, to reclaim these parts of themselves they'd kept hidden out of fear of seeming unkind. Jung discovered that this integration doesn't diminish someone's light, it protects it. The healed empath stops being a lighthouse for ships that have no intention of coming to shore. They stop being a well for people who only show up when they're thirsty. They become what Jung called psychologically sovereign, complete unto themselves, needing no external validation to know their worth. What people interpret as coldness is actually clarity, crystal clear vision about who deserves their warmth and who has proven they'll only exploit it. But the next phase is what Jung called the return to the self, and it changes everything permanently. According to Carl Jung's research on psychological development, there comes a moment when an individual stops performing empathy and starts embodying wisdom. The healed empath reaches this threshold. They don't feel obligated to prove their caring nature anymore. They don't need to demonstrate their emotional availability to everyone who demands it. They've learned what Jung termed selective investment, placing their emotional resources only where they'll be honored, not taken for granted. They understand that their empathy is sacred, not something to be given carelessly to people who mistake kindness for weakness. This is the moment when they appear cold to those who never valued their warmth in the first place. And Jung understood this perfectly. He said that those who truly see you will recognize the depth behind your boundaries. Those who only used you will call you cold the moment you stop serving their needs. Here's the final piece that makes this transformation absolutely magnificent. Carl Jung discovered that true strength isn't measured by how much you can endure, but by how well you know when to stop enduring. The healed empath embodies this wisdom perfectly. They've stopped confusing tolerance with love. They've stopped mistaking availability with loyalty. They've reached what Jung called psychological completion, the state of being whole within yourself, no longer fragmenting your energy to fill the voids in others. They're not cold. They're conserving their fire for those who appreciate the light without demanding to consume the source. Jung said that the most powerful individuals are those who have learned to be warm without burning themselves out. The healed empath has mastered this paradox. They feel deeply but love selectively. They understand completely but engage cautiously. They care profoundly but choose carefully. And that, according to Carl Jung's revolutionary insights, isn't coldness at all. It's the highest form of emotional intelligence, warmth refined by wisdom, compassion protected by boundaries, love expressed through conscious choice rather than unconscious obligation. The healed empath hasn't become cold, they've become whole. And to those who only valued them for what they could take, that wholeness will always look like ice. But to those who deserve their warmth, they'll discover a fire that burns brighter than ever before, precisely because it's no longer scattered across 1,000 people who never intended to return the heat. This is the psychology of the healed empath, and once you understand it, you'll never mistake their boundaries for coldness again.